Did you know that the city is on the verge of approving a plan for another 1,910 housing units here in town over the course of the next 8 years? Hey guys, it's Teddy Herzog. You know, actually, more accurate would be to say that the state of California is requiring that we, the town of Petaluma, come up with a solid plan for how we're going to allow 1,910 units to be built in town. Our general plan gets rewritten every 24 years, but the housing element, which is arguably the most important part of our general plan, gets rewritten every 8 years. We have a general plan advisory committee and city staff who've been working on rewriting the general plan and particularly the housing element for almost the past 2 years. And this part of our general plan is almost ready for final review and approval by the Planning Commission and the City Council. So you'll be seeing that on their agendas in February and March. The state, in its regional housing needs allocation set forth for Petaluma, has said, okay, yeah, you can build a certain amount of market rate housing, but we also want to see you building more affordable housing. Over the last couple of decades, Petaluma, like many places, has been very good at building market rate housing, but getting affordable housing built has been more difficult. So this chart shows you what Petaluma is expected to build in terms of different levels of affordable housing as well as market rate housing. In case you were wondering, here's a chart of relative growth that our Regional Association of Bay Area Government predicts for Sonoma County through the year 2040. You can see that Sonoma County overall is projected to grow approximately 18% over the next 18 years. Santa Rosa will have the most growth, followed by Rohnert Park and then Petaluma. The city of Sonoma is projected to grow the least of these four cities. As we update our general plan, some of the top priorities include dealing with homelessness, creating more affordable housing, avoiding environmentally sensitive habitats, avoiding high hazard areas, creating more equity, focusing on infill, protection of community character, and carbon neutrality. The new draft of the housing element shows that we can currently build 3,404 new housing units on existing infill land and without changing any of the existing zoning regulations. There is a site inventory map in the housing element showing where these units could be built. The city, of course, is not a developer, and this entire process relies upon developers coming forward to build these units. Projects that are already somewhere along the city permit pipeline stream are shown in blue. This means they're already in process. And then there's so-called opportunity sites, which are shown in orange. These orange locations are existing shopping malls, parking lots, and empty lots that could be converted into multi-story housing units under the existing zoning rules. Some of the obvious opportunity sites for future development include these two empty lots downtown by the train station, and also some of our shopping malls that are one-story structures with large parking lots. Foreseeably in the future, some of these could be redeveloped with multiple story structures, possibly still with shopping on the ground floor, housing on the upper levels, and still with plenty of parking. The projections for new housing units also include accessory dwelling units, which can be added to existing houses in existing neighborhoods. Here's an interesting case study. Last year, the city of Santa Monica down in Los Angeles, they failed to update their housing element on time in compliance with the state requirements. And because of that, developers were able to rush in and take advantage of an automatic approval loophole. Developers rushed in last year and submitted 12 projects to the city of Santa Monica for a total of 4,000 units, and theoretically at least, The city is required to approve all of these projects without any kind of discretionary review because the housing element had expired and there was no housing element intact. So the point being that a city in California puts itself at risk if it doesn't have a state-approved housing element on the books. One could argue that there actually is no such thing as affordable housing. It all costs the same amount to build, whether it's a market rate housing unit or whether it's an affordable rate housing unit, it still costs the same to build. If you go back to our Economics 101 textbook, in a free market, the theory is the cost of anything depends upon supply and demand. As long as the supply is low and the demand is high, the price of it is going to continue to be higher and higher. Check out this recent LA Times article. Affordable housing projects in Northern California are now regularly costing $1 million per unit to build. This LA Times article took a look at 7 affordable housing projects in San Francisco, Oakland, and Concord. Is it cheaper than $1 million per unit to build affordable housing units in Petaluma? Maybe, but probably not much cheaper. So the reason California is requiring all cities, including Petaluma, to build much more housing is because it seems to be that the solution to many of our housing problems is a simple case of we just need to build more housing.